M&E plan. In this class, we are going to go through the process of drafting an M&E plan for your own specific intervention. So in your respective intervention, you are supposed to draft a targeted M&E plan that you're going to submit to your sponsors and your donors, even for yourself to monitor your plan. So an M&E plan is a program document that details a program's objectives and interventions developed to achieve these objectives, and describe the procedures that will be implemented to determine whether the objectives are met or not. So essentially, an M&E plan is your plan, like your objective. This is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it. These are the risks that I might encounter on the way. And this is how I'm going to avoid the risks, and this is how I'm going to mitigate it. So what are your M&E plans useful for? They provide underlying assumptions on which achievements of program goals are made. So if you say that I've impacted my community, in your M&E plan, you're going to say that I've impacted voting and electoral process in my community because I've increased the number of women voting from 10 to 20. You know, you can measure your impact. So it's just like saying that, I'm making progress. How? I've made progress by doing specific A and B. And because you've stated that in your M&E plan, it's easy for you to measure. Then it discusses the anticipated relationship between activities, outputs, and outcome. The concepts that we talked about in the preceding class, you will be able to link them together. It's your M&E plan that makes you link them together. Then you have a well-defined conceptual plan. You don't put yourself under any rush. You don't compare yourself to other global champions. Specifically, you know what you are setting out because every community has its own peculiarity. You know what's workable in your community or not. Then you provide guidance on data sources to use. How do you get data? How do you measure progress? And you have a plan for dissemination and utilization information gain. So whatever information you have, also at what point do I engage with my handlers at CC Hub? How do I engage with my sponsors? How many times do I call my handlers? How do I identify challenges? And when those challenges arise, how do I go about solving them? So next, we're going to look at the components of your M&E plan. So in drafting your M&E plans, what are the things that should be in your M&E plans? The first thing is that you must have an introduction. So in that introduction talks about your community. You say, I'm from XYZ community. It's a riverine community dominated by fishermen. Our economic status is that we are poor, illiterate, and are disempowered. So that you introduce whatever the context of your community, you talk about it. Then the second component is the program description. This is what this program is about. This program is about increasing women participation, increasing access to voting materials, increasing security. So you must specify in detail, with clarity, what you plan to do. Then also you must have your data collection plan. So how do you collect data? So how do you know the last number of people that voted the last election? Maybe INEC doesn't have that data. So how do you plan to secure that information? So that means you have to speak to people in the community. You speak to long-term voters. What's the pattern? What's the trend of voting? You must be able to come up with a plan. Then you must have a plan for monitoring. So a plan for monitoring is how do you monitor progress every day, every week, or every month? Then you must have a plan for evaluation. You must have an evaluation plan within your M&E plan. So once in 6 months and once in a year. Then also you must have a plan for utilization of information. The information you secure, how do you use those information? How do you use them? So if you get to know that nursing mothers don't go to vote, what are you going to do with that information? You must be able to process information. The reason why they don't vote, risk, their children, whether you're going to set up a volunteer call at ballot centers that are going to take care of nursing mother and their kids while voting. Then you must have a mechanism for updating your plan. You must understand that no plan is static. So things happen that changes. So there is flooding, there is security crisis, there is displacement. How do you factor that in your M&E plan? So once again, the components of your M&E plan, you have your introduction, number 1, program description and framework, number 2, detailed description of plan indicators, number 3, the data collecting plan, number 4, plan for monitoring, number 5, plan for evaluation, number 6, a plan for utilization of the information gain, number 7, and lastly, your mechanism for updating your plan. Understand that except you have a well-detailed detailed M&E plan, it's difficult for you to measure your progress empirically. It's difficult for you to justify the hours and the resources you put into the intervention.